Hey everyone, and welcome to Tips of the Week. It's going to be first of many that I'm going to do further on as time progresses. And so basically this week we're going to talk about tanks and DPS and their roles in a team fight. I know that there's hybrids as well, but just consider hybrids DPS because just for the sake of this, to simplify it. Alright, first thing we're going to be talking about is tanks. Tanks are champions in the game that build items only in defense. That way they can absorb the most damage, and that's their goal in a team fight, is to absorb as much damage as possible. If you find yourself stacking magic resistance, if your champion is mainly health regeneration, go for a Spirit Visage. If not, a Banshee's Veil is always good because it also increases health, and a Force of Nature later on is also a good item. If the enemy team is mainly physical damage, then you can stack Sunfire Capes. Going Randuin's Omen as well as Warmog's Armor is good, and Thornmail is also a great item. Next I'm going to talk about tanks and DPS and their roles in a team fight. In front of you, tanks are marked with a T and DPS are marked with a D. A lot of people complain that champions are overpowered, but I think people forget that League of Legends, its winning is solely dependent on teamwork, and people forget this. The more players you have involved in a game, the more reliant it is on teamwork for winning. Your ideal situation is for the enemy team to focus your two tanks. While this is happening, all of your team, including the tanks being attacked, need to focus their DPS, preferably the one who's doing the most damage. Often what will happen is 4 of the enemy will attack one person, and then 1 of the enemy will attack another person. Or maybe 3 enemies will attack one person, and 2 enemies will attack another person. You shouldn't do this, and this brings up the tip of the week. You need to attack their main DPS carry with all 5 of your champions. This means that even the tanks being attacked need to focus their carry, their main DPS. This is important, and a lot of people forget this. In 5v5 play, it's all about teamwork. Now, it's important to note how you can do this. If you're using Ventrilo or TeamSpeak, then it's important to call out the names of whoever you think is best to focus. So if you're starting to attack and a team fight starts, make sure to call out names like Ashe or Ezreal or whoever you are focusing. This way, anyone who is caught not knowing what they're doing will immediately register that they need to focus Ezreal, and it will make for a much more efficient fight. Now I'll explain why we focus one champion. In a team fight, if you focus one of their DPS, you will take down usually 2 of their DPS in the time it takes them to take down 1 of your tanks. This is a huge advantage. As you can see, you have way more damage output at this point than they do. Even if they start to focus your DPS, it won't even matter, because your damage output will be so much higher that you'll just slowly whittle them down. So why is it important to focus their main DPS? Why is it important to focus as an entire team? Well, basically, each team has a collective damage per second. There's an exact number that would illustrate how much damage that one team could actually output in a second. And what you want to do is you want to lower this number fast, and the fastest way to do it is to attack their main DPS, attack the champion that outputs the most damage on their team. And most of the time, this champion is going to be weak, and that's because they mainly focused on offensive items. These are champions like Ashe, these are champions like Tristana, these are carries, these are main DPS. And you need to focus them, because that's going to lower the collective damage per second of the team drastically. And so as you focus these main DPS, their collective damage per second will lower, and yours will usually remain higher, because what you're going to try and do is get them to focus your tanks. And since your tanks don't output that much damage per second anyways, that it won't affect your collective damage per second. So you can see how that works. To a lot of people this will seem like common sense, but pay attention in your next games, and I think you'll notice that a lot of people forget about this, especially in the heat of battle. It's not only that people forget to do this, it's that people forget its importance. The outcome of a team fight is completely dependent on what team successfully takes down the other team's main DPS. People need to acknowledge this so they can better understand the game. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you guys have any suggestions, please leave comments, and if you guys found it too confusing or anything like that, please let me know so that way in my next video I can try to simplify the information. Thanks.